these matters are not properly substantiated, then the matter will end there. The committee will report back to the House and the matter will die. But if the matters will have been found to have been substantiated, then this House will proceed to take another vote, Mr. Speaker, where even before we take the vote, we will present Honorable Mithika Linturi with an opportunity to address this parliament and defend himself. That is the time we will know that he is innocent or is not innocent. But stopping this process at this stage would be reckless, would be careless, and would demonstrate a House that does not know its responsibility. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to also add that it is not just on grounds of gross violation of the provisions of this Constitution that you would initiate a process of removing a cabinet secretary. It is not only on the grounds of where serious reasons of believing that the cabinet secretary has committed a crime under the national or international law that a process like this would be initiated. This process would even be initiated if we have a reason to believe that there is gross misconduct on the part of the cabinet secretary. And Mr. Speaker, based on the evidence that Honorable Amboka has presented to this House, and particularly I'm concerned about the issues of National Cereals and Produce Board. Mr. Speaker, the first question that I would ask those who want to oppose this motion, are you telling us that National Cereals and Produce Board would go ahead with the budgetary provision given by this House as proposed by the Cabinet Secretary, presented to us? We give out money. This money goes and buys kokoto instead of fertilizer, given to our farmers, and only whistleblowers are able to know. Yet we have a ministry which has a cabinet secretary heading that ministry, and that cabinet secretary is ignorant. But Mr. Speaker, what worries me more is the evidence that is produced before us through a letter that is written by a lawyer, Ahmed Nasir Mohammed. And clearly, Ahmed Nasir is telling us that Mithika Linturi even attempted to subvert justice by trying to dictate or order this particular factory to go and issue a statement. And the evidence is there. The telephone number is there. Calls were made. Safaricom can confirm the same. And that is why I want to plead with this House, Mr. Speaker, that this is a matter that we cannot treat casually. This is a matter of hunger. It is a matter of food. It is a matter of food security in this country. It is a matter that can bring this country to anarchy, as the minority leader said. We must show responsibility. You are elected by your people to come and speak for them. They don't have a voice. They cannot talk to Mithika Linturi. It is you who can speak to Mithika Linturi. It is you who can speak to William Ruto, who appointed Mithika Linturi. And when these cabinet secretaries were appointed, Mr. Speaker, I remember saying that this is going to go in the records of history as the most incompetent cabinet. And you can already see that some people are protecting, Mr. Speaker, Mithika Linturi and claiming that he was ignorant of what was happening in National Cereals and Produce Board. Mr. Speaker, if Mr. Linturi can be ignorant of what is happening at the National Cereals and Produce Board, then what can he be ignorant about? This is an incompetent...
Honorable Mbadi, there's a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 83, as read together with Standing Order number 91, on the accuracy of information that is being provided by my very good friend, the Honorable Mbadi. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the Member of Parliament, for the nominated Member of Parliament to claim that he had already made up his mind from the time the Cabinet Secretaries were nominated or appointed that they were incompetent, so that his information that he had at that time, which he never gave us in the House, when we were approving Mithika Linturi, is it in order, Mr. Speaker, for somebody to redact information which we thought he had or which he thinks he should have had The accuracy of his information, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, is in fact one thing. He is alleging that in fact the conduct of the president is not at issue here. In fact, if he wants to bring a substantive motion with the issue of the conduct, he should not mention the president. He is not part of the motion that is in the House. The motion is in the House is with regard to the Honorable Mithika Linturi, who was his colleague in the 13th Parliament. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for him to claim that he had this information but he never gave to the House? That is very misleading, Mr. Speaker.
Mbadi, wind up.
Mr. Speaker, you know, Honorable Chepkonga could be older than me by age, but he is not older than me in this House, and I don't know why he's resting so early. You still have time to be here, so don't rust. Please just remain active, focused on what I say. Mr. Speaker, I was reminding the President, we are appealing to the President as the appointing authority. That is what we are doing here. The President has to remove this cabinet secretary from office. We are speaking to him. We are telling him this is one of your incompetent cabinet secretaries. Please hear us. Listen to us. I said this when these cabinet secretaries were being approved. It is on record. I even use words that I don't want to repeat today. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying in a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, I want to plead with this House. Please allow this motion to go through so that we can appoint a select committee of 11 members to interrogate this matter, look at it into details, look at the evidence adduced, so that if there is no evidence, we will let Linturi continue running the ministry. If there is evidence, let us get him out, get another Kenyan, even if we want a Kenyan from that region where he comes from. There are so many competent Kenyans from that region, that county, that part of the country. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead and persuade, including the majority leader, support this motion so that we can have these matters settled in a professional manner through the committee of this House. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hear my good friend, Honorable John Mbadi, asking me to support, and I rise to oppose this motion, Honorable Speaker, by the Honorable Member for Bumula, the Honorable Jack Wanami Wamboka. But allow me, Honorable Speaker, to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Jack Wamboka for having the courage and fortitude to not only collect signatures and bring this motion, but also to prosecute it. Although he has performed dismally in his prosecution of the motion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I keenly listened to you on Tuesday when you made your communication, Honorable Speaker, on this motion. Honorable Speaker, this House is guided, or rather, as you stated, is a house of rules, and is guided by not just by the standing orders, but also by a constitution. Honorable Speaker, if you read through standing orders 64 to 66 of our standing orders, you will realize that the Honorable Wamboka's motion falls flat and contra our standing orders and also the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is also true that matters to do with removal of office of public officers, as you stated in your communication, Honorable Speaker, are largely guided also by precedents and borrows heavily from court rulings and the threshold set in. Honorable Speaker, the famous Wambora cases on the removal of former governor for Embu County speaks volumes. Honorable Speaker, in that case, the Wambora case, one of the things that was made clear is that there must be a very clear nexus between the person being removed from office and the alleged grounds on which that removal is sought. Therefore, the question we ought to ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker, has the mover of this motion, Honorable Jack Wamboka, created or shown us that nexus between the person being removed from office as cabinet secretary and the alleged grounds of removal? And the straight answer, Honorable Speaker, is none. There is completely no nexus between the allegations that the Honorable Jack Wamboka presented in his moving of this motion, Honorable Speaker. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, if you listen to Honorable Jack Wamboka, Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the members who are consulting very loudly. Honorable Speaker, I was asking if you can protect me from the loud consultations.
Order.
Especially here.
Order, honorable members. Members on their feet. Your standing orders say only the members speaking should be on their feet. If you are in transit, then transit to where you are going. Go on.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was stating that the Honorable Jack Wamboka has completely failed to show us the nexus between the allegations that he was speaking about and the person he seeks to remove from office. Indeed, in his own submission, Honorable Speaker, he has alluded to issues touching on procurement and distribution of fertilizer by the National Cereals and Produce Board. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Jack Wamboka is not an ordinary member of Parliament. The Honorable Jack Wamboka, and congratulations to him, is a first-time member of Parliament, but also serving as a senior member of this House as the chair of the Public Investments Committee. And therefore he knows, because he oversights these parastatals, some of these parastatals in PIC, that parastatals are semi-autonomous of ministries. And indeed, the State Corporations Act is very clear that ministers, principal secretaries or accounting officers cannot and must never be seen to micromanage parastatals or state corporations. The Honorable Wamboka has failed to show us the nexus between CS Mithika Linturi and the procurement processes or distribution of fertilizers at NCPB. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, he also failed to inform the House that DCI that has been investigating this matter has already preferred charges against arrested and preferred charges which the DPP has consented to for the prosecution of officers that DCI feels might be culpable on the matter of the procurement and distribution of this fertilizer, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I was waiting, Honorable Speaker, with bated breath for the Honorable Wamboka to show us that nexus. He has failed to do so. And therefore, this motion falls flat on its face, on the face of the Honorable Jack Wamboka. Honorable Speaker, it also lacks any clear precision of the violations of law and the Constitution. And the Honorable Wamboka did not show us any clear violation of any section of the law or indeed of the Constitution by CS Mithika Linturi. Honorable Speaker, look at the probate value. And I think the Honorable Murugara had alluded to it. The Honorable Mbadi had also alluded to the probate value of the issues that the Honorable Jack Wamboka has tabled before the House. Honorable Speaker, he took us through what the Honorable Member for Kilifi North was telling us were not just excerpts from Citizen, NTV, Nation newspapers, Star newspaper, and other media houses. And Honorable Speaker, we have tremendous respect for our media houses because as a fourth estate, they have a duty like we do to oversight government and the executive, Honorable Speaker. And we must allow our media houses to help us to raise issues that are also of concern to the people of Kenya, just like we raise. But media houses cannot be the basis, Honorable Speaker, in line with our own procedures in this House, to adduce evidence before this House. And Honorable Speaker, I dare ask, if we were to prosecute, if we were to impeach CS Mithika Linturi on the basis of newspaper articles, Honorable Speaker, allow me the indulgence, Honorable Speaker, to read a newspaper article that was featured by the Sunday Nation on April 14, 2024. And this article, Honorable Speaker, said that House team boss on extortion spree. And I'm reading this article, Honorable Speaker, so that we may ask ourselves, if I am that House boss being reported here on an extortion spree, would it be fair for us to impeach myself, if that House boss is the Honorable Wamboka, the mover of this motion, how fair would it be for me to move the House to impeach the Honorable Wamboka on the basis of a newspaper article from a gossip column like this one, Honorable Speaker? This article said that the chairman of a powerful committee is on the spot for harassing witnesses that appear before him. Talk of town has landed the chairman calls cabinet secretaries scheduled to appear before his committee and demands huge amounts of money in order to be looked at favorably when they appear. The CSAs were heard complaining that the MP is demanding and asks for money using threats at least 1 week before they appear in his committee. Those who fail to play ball by parting with cash demand are harassed during their appearance and negative reports are given on their manifesto. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker,
Member for Busia, you are total out of order to stand up and raise your hands. Order.
Honorable Speaker, I read this article because I am pointing to the issue of us using newspaper articles, media reports to impeach state and public officers, including members of parliament, chairs of committees, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, Honorable Speaker, that we cannot use the basis of newspaper reports to impeach anybody. And that's why I said, Honorable Speaker, if I was that House boss, only that I don't chair a committee, the Honorable Wamboka Wanami is a chair of a powerful committee. How do I know? Who would know what this newspaper column was?